In this lecture, you'll learn about the spacing utility classes. Using these utility classes, you can set the margin and padding of elements responsively for individual sites or multiple sites. Here's an overview of the spacing utilities. First, let's take a look at the notation. First, you specify the property, then the size, then optionally a breakpoint, and then a size. The properties can be M for margin or P for padding. The sides can be T for top, E for right, which is end, B for bottom, S for left, which is start, X for left and right, so horizontally, Y for top and bottom, so vertically, and blank for all four sides. The breakpoints are the usually one, SM, MD, LG, XL, and XXL. The sizes go from 0 to 5, which you can see right here. There's also an auto value, and there's actually also negative values for the margins, but these are disabled by default in Bootstrap 5. Here we see it in effect. We have the margin applied to the top of these elements here, then to the right side, the bottom and the left side, horizontally on both sides, vertically on both top and bottom, and then on all four sides. Here we see an example with the auto margin. The first one pushes the element to the right side, the second one center it. Then we have the same examples with padding. First padding in the top, which is the dark gray area, then in the right side, the bottom side, left side, horizontally and vertically, and finally all sides. And then we have some responsive examples where this margin in the left side and padding in the left side are being applied for specific breakpoints and up. Right now we're on the largest breakpoint, so right now we can see everything. But if we resize this, we can see here that for the extra small breakpoint, none of these are effective. When we increase the width, we can see that they become effective. Finally, we have the gap size, which defines the size between these items in a display grid. So we can see the size can be 1 through 5. And the parent element has a display value of grid. Alright, let's get started. So first, we'll take a look at the margin. Create a div tag, the class MT1. We'll also add the text MT1 so we can better see this. Please notice that I have some custom styling up here to better show these examples. Alright, so this is the size 1. I can change that to size 2, size 3, size 4, and size 5. We can also do this for the right side. Then we'll use the E, which stands for end, so margin end. We can do it in the bottom. This would be MB. We can do it in the left side, which will use the letter S for start, so margin start, MS. Horizontally, by using MX, and vertically, so this is both top and bottom, by using MY. And finally, on all four sides, simply by using M. Alright, now let's preview this in the browser. Select the screencast tab, scroll down, and here we see it. Margin in the top, in the right side, bottom, left side, horizontally, vertically, and on all four sides. Now let's take a quick look at some auto margin examples. So for the first one, write a div tag with the class W50 to set the width to 50%, and then MS auto. So this is margin start, which is margin in the left side. MS auto. It will now push this element to the far right side, so it will take up half of the space in the right side of the screen, since it's 50% wide. The next example will also be 50% wide, but we'll use the MX auto class. So it will now have auto margin on both sides, meaning that this will now be positioned in the center. So let's go back and refresh. Here we can see it. The first one gets pushed to the right side and the second one gets centered. Now let's take a look at padding. This is similar to the margin. So we'll start by copying this one up here, paste it in. Now we want to rename this to PT for padding top. And then for the right side, we'll change this to PE for padding end. In the bottom, we'll change it to PB for padding bottom. And for padding in the left side, we'll change this to PS, padding start. And to apply it horizontally, change it to PX. This will apply it to the left and right side. And to apply it vertically, change it to PY. It will now apply it to the top and bottom. To apply it to all four sides, we'll simply use the letter P. We'll save this, go back and refresh. And here we can see the padding being applied to the top, the right side, the bottom, and the left side. And here vertically and on all four sides. Next up, let's take a look at some responsive examples. First, we'll create a div tag with the class MS0. So this will now have a margin of 0 initially. So for all initially and for all breakpoints. And now we want to change that. So we'll edit this class to be MS-SM0 or 1. So this means that for small devices and up, it will now add a margin with the size 1. We'll copy these a few times and change this to MD2. So for medium breakpoints and up, it will now have a margin of 2. And here MSLG3, it will now have a margin of 3 for large devices and up. Then we have XL4. And finally, let's copy it one more time and change this to XXL5. We can do something similar with the padding. So let's copy and paste this. And let's now change this M letter to P, like so, and leave the rest. So now let's take a look in the browser, refresh. Here you can see if you resize the browser window, initially everything looks the same. When we increase the width, it will get margin and padding for each of the examples, the wider the screen gets. So this is an example of how you can use these spacing utilities responsibly. Finally, let's take a look at how we can define a gap for children inside of a grid. So this is not the Bootstrap grid, but a parent element that has the display property with the value grid. So first we add the parent element and give it the grid class, like so. And then we can define the gap size on the parent element as well. We'll add some grid items here, 1, 2, and 3. like so. And now we'll copy all of this, paste it in here, change the gap number to 2 and to 3 to 4 and to 5. And then we'll save, go back and refresh, and now we can see the gap size here. Notice that the size in between these children elements or grid items increases. So this is how you can use the different spacing utilities.